Hey. Harlem Brown is under controls, and she's got us going sooner than I wanted to go. So let's do this, Harlem Brown. Harlem Brown, let's do this. Hey. You know what time it is.
Time for the heart journey to unconditional love podcast.
That's right. And I'm your host, Elaine Blumer. That is my co-host, Harlan Brown. And Harlan Brown, what's up? You
What's
on the
going
controls and you got me all crazy. Like you didn't hit record all sooner than I wanted, but that's all good.
It's all, I'm learning. This is my learning curve. This is my
Hey, this
learning
is
curve.
what see, this is what I was telling y'all. Women are in control. Women are in control of the world. They just
First
they
time being
let
in control. My first time being in control. So
what we
look,
talk about today? What we talk about?
you know what we're doing?
Yeah.
We just talking.
Okay, we just talking. All right. So I know what we was on. We was talking about intentional dating intentionally, and I think sometimes women are want to know too early what man's intentions are. But I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying let the at least getting to know each other or the courting part, if even not just courting, just hey, hang out, whatever it's got to do, let it breathe first, and then as you're talking, it'll come out in different ways because you're gonna let somebody know whatever, but not right away to be like, hey, your intention of doing it, your intention of doing it, your intention of doing that, and that's all we were talking about. But there's no wrong or right way. I'm just saying some men get taken aback by it when you bring it on that early on, first couple of weeks, and like, wait a minute, let me just see if I even like you first, and you should be doing the same thing before you disclose everything. It's not, and it's okay if you let him know what your intentions are, but to ask him what his intentions are, you can do that, but make sure you understand the parameters of doing that. I mean, am I saying something incorrect here? I don't know if it's incorrect. Am I saying something that hits a nerve with you there, Harlan Brown? I don't know. I don't know. At this point, I'm so like, you can't you. It's hard to tell people when and when not to do something because everybody is unique to their situation, and I think that's what I want to get out in this podcast. I think that's what we want to get out in the podcast,
Yes,
that you're
yes,
unique to your situation.
yes.
It's more of the answer is going to be more read the room before you bring things out or before you disclose things, and then you'll kind of gauge if you give that person your undivided attention and that person gives you their undivided attention when you're communicating, you'll know exactly how the conversation is going to go. Because a lot of times the conversation just goes and it
Right.
flows in a way where oh wow, I really like this person, and then you read in the room, and then you start adding a little bit more, sprinkling a little bit more as you go along. So that's all I'm saying. I mean, I'll give you the floor because I'm at this point. I'm like, oh, okay, what do we do? What are we doing here?
I think that I know we've had a lot of conversations around this, but I like to say that date we and that's why I wanted to kind of roll it back to dating. Like we need to get to a point where we're just trying to actually get to know another
Well, we're
person.
not trying to.
When we are in, the stages of getting to know someone, right? In the stages of getting to know someone, like you said, conversation usually flows very smoothly. Things come out in those conversations. You get a
Yeah,
feel of who the person is. It
yeah.
doesn't mean that you have to go. And I think my biggest thing was, we go on dates and we got to stop. We got to stop automatically thinking, okay, I'm going on a date, and you putting people in bad positions where you like, and I'm not doing this, and I'm not doing this, and I don't want to have kids, and I don't want to get married. Well, I want to get married, and I just got divorced, and like all of those things. That's not a conversation. That's not a flow. That's not helping me know you any better.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
telling me. It's just telling me what you mad at this particular time, right?
Pretty much. And then,
So
yeah, go ahead.
let's have a conversation without what you're still angry about, because you're when you pop off like that, you popping off to me as a person who probably not really ready to date because of the fact that there's a whole lot of things that you
Yeah.
still need to work
Right.
out because you're angry about everything. And
Right.
I don't want to be I don't want to get to know somebody on that level because it puts the other person in an uncomfortable position, always trying to figure out like, "Well, so is it me or did I trigger
Yeah.
something? Did I do
Yeah.
anything?"
Yeah.
So please, when you're dating, understand dates are just to get to know somebody. It's not a
Yeah.
20 question thing. It's a conversation. It should
Conversation.
flow. It
Absolutely.
should definitely be about getting to know somebody and getting to know somebody a little bit deeper. Like,
Mhm.
hey, if you get 3, 4, 5 months down the line and both of y'all are really
Yes.
digging each
Yeah.
other, then we can
Yeah.
start with the intentionals
Yeah.
of what you want to do and where
Yeah.
you want to go. But by
Look,
that time, you would already know because
look,
it's already been spoke about, it's already been talked about.
the
Those
audience,
things just come out. So
audience, please don't be popping off for something that's all about. If you be popping off at this, you just be popping off at that. But no, on a serious note, enjoy what's in front of you right there in the second. Just just have a conversation. And and like I said, we've had podcasts about this before. Talk about things that you don't normally talk about to see where you're at. You don't have to get deep into demographics on how many kids, and how many times you've been married, all that. Let that go. Just have a general conversation with a person. Just as if you just met them and just saying, hey, 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 what do you think about the world today? Things or something like that. Don't talk too much about yourself. Just let your conversation dictate, and they can know what kind of shape who you are, or get a bigger picture of who they're talking to. And I think that's what it is. A lot of times we don't enjoy what's in front of us, the first, the second, and that's in front of us. We're looking, jumping ahead to say, wow, he or she's already attractive. Man, I like the way they talk. I like their voice. Oh man, they are saying something, and it looks like we can build something. Stop. Talk. Just stay right in front of that person and give that person your undivided attention. Because when you give that person your undivided attention, you'll learn more. And when you're quiet and you're just taking it in, they're telling you exactly who they are, and vice versa. When they let you speak and they're giving you their undivided attention, they're letting you know who they are. So I think it's more of, when you're talking about intentional, Harlem Brown, I'm gonna bring it back to being intentional. It doesn't matter when you bring it up, but just read the room. But there could be some consequences behind the intentional being, asking the intentional questions. And also, not just with that, it's the way that the presentation of how intentional you are. Like, I don't know what your intentions are, or what's your intentions. Are you trying to date? Are you doing this? And we talked about this before. When you come out like that, you're popping off like like Harlem Brown says. Then or what you're going to get, because that person is kind of turned off now, and you don't want to turn nobody on. The main thing is you want to just continue to grow with someone. That's all.
no, I agree with you. I think that we need to really slow it down and pull it back a bit because when we started talking about being intentional and how people, come out, it was a little bit like it did me a little flustered because I'm just like, come on, like it's not just the women who do it, men do it too. But that's why I said let's roll it back to dating and realize that these initial conversations, this is the fun part. This is where you get to know somebody. This is how you build a how this is how you begin this building of seeing if this is the person that you want to be with and how these people react, how this person reacts to certain things, and how you guys can do things together and see some fun things together and
Yeah.
enjoy that part about it instead of saying. And I think a lot of times a lot of people do that, right? We start dating somebody and we want to know what's going to happen in 2 years from now. I don't know what's
Right.
going to happen 2 years from now. I'm just saying at this particular point, let's just go ahead and do what we're gonna do, enjoy this journey and get to know each other better. But I'm
And,
not
and
saying, hey, we gotta lock everything down
yeah,
and do this and like, and I think a lot of people, because they've experienced those kind of people before, it's not necessary, don't necessarily put everybody in that same box, because everybody is not doing that. Everybody's not on the panic wheel of trying to hurry up and expedite everything.
yeah.
Sometimes people
But
just
but
like,
but
hey,
but
we've
I
been,
think you,
we've been
I
doing
think you
this
said,
for a minute. What you think?
yeah. But I think you
Somebody
said
even
something
say,
that was
hey,
really
what do you
important.
think? That's it.
I think you said something really important. Enjoy the journey. A lot of times we don't enjoy the journey. We're so want to control the journey, we don't enjoy it. Because I'm going to control the conversation to get what I need to hear from this person, so that I know whether this is that or this is that. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing for me, that I have a not don't have a problem with, but I think deters other people from continuing the conversation with them because they want to control the narrative of the whole conversation as opposed to letting it flow to be a free flowing thing where you understand each other and you're just really giving each other an opportunity, to learn more about the type of person that you are, and really, and that's the only way you're going to know whether you can mesh with somebody else is understanding their understanding them and what their likes are, what their dislikes are, understanding how they interact with others, some of their hobbies that they like, some of the things that they like doing, some of the volunteering or organizations that they're a part of. Church is a big thing with that. So um, learn more about that because now you're building a foundation onto what is going to be, whether you can mesh with that person or not. So, I think one of the things that part of the book that I'm writing, is, and yes, I'm plugging my book. Yes, I am. One of the parts that I'm writing is a lot of times when we're getting to understand and knowing someone, a big thing about it is really understanding and listening to the things that they're passionate about. And when you find out what people are passionate about, that's who they are. That's what represents them. You know what I mean? Like I'm passionate about doing a podcast. So if I'm getting with somebody else, they know that the podcast is a big part of my life. And they're not saying that they have to start doing podcasts or being part of it, but knowing that this is a big podcast and what I talk about, relationships is really big for me. So now that person knows that relationships are pretty big, communicating about relationships and understanding relationships is a big part of the passion of who I am and what makes me. So when you understand and start realizing and understanding when you're reading the room for that to happen, then your conversation will flow and you can really get the opportunity to know who that other person is.
Good deal.
But, oh, Harlem Brown got quiet audience. Oh my God. But no,
Carla
we just
Brown is
talking.
usually always quiet until you poke the bear.
Until
Like
I poke them. Well, I'm not poking the bear. I mean, like
Carla
I
Brown is
can
usually a
I can
quiet
bring. We look. We just talking, right? So I can bring up some other things. What else you been
Yeah,
hearing in the
you
streets?
can bring up some other things. I'm just saying good deal because I think that that is very important that we need to know what is important to us. We need to know what's important to the other person.
Yeah,
I think that comes in a lot of communication. And also I think that we need to not always assume that we know and we should ask the question because I feel like a lot of times we get into situations and especially people who've been in situations before, who've been in relationships before, we've already finished in the sentence. We already created the story in our head. This is how this turns out. This is how this is going to be. And it's not necessarily how it's going to be. And I told a friend of mine the other day, and I probably can't remember it verbatim, but it she was complaining about something that she had she that she thought would happen if she did something, right? If I say this, then this is gonna happen, and this is gonna happen, and this is gonna happen, and this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. And I was like, but you didn't start the sentence, you didn't start the conversation to get this story that you already have in your head, right? So
Right.
you finish the story in your head, and you make a decision on the story that you have in your head without actually having a conversation in order to have the true facts of what it would be, because you didn't give the person the opportunity to do it. Maybe somebody else answered those questions before differently, but you're with a whole new person now, right? So this is when you're supposed to ask the questions and not finish the story in your head and not say, well, by the gestures, I feel this is that's not fair to the other person, because you never gave the other person the opportunity to clarify anything. You just took it upon yourself to say, I already know what this is.
Yeah.
And
And this is
so
a
I
good
think
segue to
that you need to have that communication and talk.
yeah. So this is a good segue to drop the scripture. So what scripture we got for the audience today, Harlan Brown?
Okay, so the scripture is Ecclesiastes 7 and 8.
Okay.
And
And
it
what does it
says,
say?
the end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride. And when I read the scripture, it reminds me that in the beginning of anything that we are building, that there will be some rocky times and there will be some things that we're trying to measure, we're trying to get to know. But the ending of a matter is better, because as we get to know each other and as we grow together, we get to it smooths out. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
we're not finishing each other's sentences. We're not automatically assuming that this is what the person thinks we actually know.
Yeah.
And if you have patience, patience is better than pride. I mean, that's what it is. If you have patience and not think that you're supposed to have, or you supposed to be, or this is what it has to be, that's your pride talking. Have
Yeah.
patience and let
Yeah.
this thing build. Let it build through the rockies, through the smooth, through all the things. If this is what you really want to do, so
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it just gets better as time goes by. And if you're patient and your pride doesn't get in the way, I think you can evolve to
Yeah.
the highest
Yeah,
of high.
and I got a thought for the audience to just think about, and this is how this whole podcast started. So I always tell people is it's always gonna be good in the beginning because you're googly eyes, you're googly, oh my God, this person is great, great, great. But can we resolve the middle? See, the middle is the one that we got to work on. Because if we work on the middle, then there is no end. You see what I'm saying? There is no end of it because if we work on the middle of the relationship, it's everlasting.
Right.
It's everlasting. So work on the middle. The beginning is always going to be great because you're just meeting. It's something new. It's that new shiny toy that you have, and now you're like whatever. But what are you doing when it gets to that middle, and there's some, how anything, it doesn't last forever in that case, but I think relationships can, and just for two or three things, and those things are, and I'm gonna just say it because again, for the book, I think if your foundation's on solid ground with God, you have a 99% chance of making it if you're
Mhm.
selfless within that. So God, being selfless and showing humility is the third thing. So if you have those three things in your relationship and your partner's on board with those same three things, then I think that 99% turns to 100% where you resolve the middle, and that relationship will never end until death do you part. And I think that's the key to everything. And I love this scripture because the end of a matter is better than its beginning. The end of a matter is better than its beginning because it's when you getting there, as you growing towards and getting to know your person, your partner better, it's only getting better with time. And if you have patience, and when you have that patience, it's better than having pride of what you're not gonna do or what you're not gonna have, because that checklist 10, your 10 20 things in checklist, yeah, the chance of you getting that, it's a large, it's a great possibility that you get all 10, but that comes with patience. You're not getting 10 on the first one, second, third, fourth, you may not. So I think it's a great way to end the podcast. 'Cause, I mean, because Again, just enjoy the journey as we talked about. See what's in front of you. Just stay with what's in front of you. And then understanding patience and understanding that the at the end of the matter, the better it's better than the beginning, because when you start from the beginning and you read the room, it only gets better after that, because you're growing together, you're building something, and when you build something that's on a on solid foundation, can nobody knock it down. So those are my last words. I'm gonna give you the last words there, Harlem Brown. You go ahead and do your thing.
Well, thank you very much for the floor, sir. I really didn't have much to add to that. I think you actually wrapped that up really well, because we really do have to have patience over pride and really understand that in the beginning there is a lot there. This is your growing, like my learning curves, trying to get the little things going. It's your learning curves, and it's okay to have those learning curves, because as you build on it, it just gets better. And and then you learn how to be an expert in it, right? And you don't have to worry about those things anymore. And it only gives you a firmer foundation to build even higher. So I just think that
Absolutely.
that is
All right.
definitely what that's what this scripture resonated with my heart. And I'm just glad I was able to share it.
Hey! So as we end all our podcasts, try to do something with keeping in your same place, but when you actually do something, your place has no limitation. I am your host, Ray Bloomer. That is my co-host, Holland Brown. And we see you next
See you
week.
next week.
Ah!